The story begins on a mysterious island in the middle of the ocean, where a massive stadium is packed with excited spectators from all around the world. Everyone's eyes are fixed on the staff standing before them. On a signal, a massive 3-meter-long shark is slowly raised out of the water as bait. A boy sitting in the crowd immediately senses that something extraordinary is about to happen. He quickly tells his older brother to look up, and just as his brother lifts his head, a colossal creature erupts from the water. The viewing platform, filled with gasping spectators, begins to slowly descend into the ground, drawing closer to the creature. And right there in front of them, a dinosaur-like sea monster called the Mosasaurus swallows the entire shark in a single devastating snap, to thunderous applause. In this world of the future, a powerful tech company has used genetic technology to resurrect dinosaurs from extinction. They purchased an entire island and transformed it into the most spectacular theme park in human history, Jurassic World. Every year, millions of people visit this island for vacation, thrilled by the sight of living, breathing dinosaurs. For 20 years, everything ran smoothly. But as time went on, people began treating the dinosaurs the way one treats animals in a zoo. Familiar, predictable, no longer thrilling. Interest declined, and with it, revenues. To reverse this trend and spark fresh excitement among visitors, park geneticist Dr. Wu and his team began experimenting with hybrid genetics. By combining DNA from multiple species, they engineered a new monster dinosaur they called Indominus Rex, a name as frightening as the creature itself. It was designed to be massive, terrifying, and utterly captivating. What nobody anticipated was that Indominus Rex would become the most dangerous threat the park had ever seen. The park owner visited the Indominus enclosure to assess the new attraction, and was immediately unsettled. The creature was far larger and far smarter than the reports had suggested. It had already made several attempts to break through the reinforced glass. Disturbed by what he saw, the owner called in retired Navy trainer Owen for a professional security evaluation. Owen was no ordinary trainer. He had served in the Navy, and after retirement had taken up the challenge of training the park's velociraptors, widely considered the most dangerous predators on the island. Against all expectations, he had managed to establish a form of command over them, using techniques developed during his military service. Before the Indominus inspection, however, an accident nearly cost a life. A new feeder fumbled while trying to contain a small pig and slipped into the raptor enclosure. Within seconds, all the raptors snapped to attention, circling him as potential prey. The situation was critical. Owen immediately pushed open the gate, stepped inside, and placed himself between the new employee and the raptors, barking sharp commands to force them back. It worked, barely. As they pulled the employee to safety, the raptors dropped into hunting stance, and Owen found himself as the target. Issuing calm, firm commands while slowly retreating, he rolled through the narrowing gate just before it shut, escaping by a heartbeat. Shortly after, Claire took Owen to the Indominus enclosure and explained that the hybrid had been raised in total isolation since birth, using T-Rex DNA as its foundation. Owen immediately warned her. An animal raised alone, with no social structure, no pack, no guidance, could become unpredictably violent. He insisted on getting a look at the creature right away. But when they checked the enclosure, the monitoring system showed no heat signatures. The massive dinosaur had seemingly disappeared. Worse, claw marks had been gouged deep into the upper wall, suggesting it had climbed out and escaped. Claire turned pale. She immediately radioed the team and ordered them to track the Indominus's location chip while she raced back to the control center. But just as Owen and a guard examined the claw marks inside the enclosure, an urgent call came from the control room. The location chip showed Indominus was still inside the enclosure, with them. Before anyone could react, the dinosaur materialized from the shadows and struck. One guard was killed on the spot. The other bolted in panic toward the outer gate and flung it open. Owen sprinted for the exit with everything he had, making it through just before the gate slammed shut. But Indominus was right behind him. It forced its massive body through the remaining gap, tearing the gate from its hinges and crashing through to freedom. Owen dove beneath a parked vehicle. Thinking fast, he slashed open the fuel tank and let gasoline flood the ground, hoping the overwhelming chemical smell would mask his own scent. It worked. Indominus sniffed the air, detected nothing useful, let out a ground-shaking roar, and stormed off into the jungle. The park's control room erupted in alarm. Tracking data showed Indominus was heading in the direction of the main visitor zones, where roughly 20,000 tourists were gathered. Claire was ready to trigger the park-wide alarm, but the owner stepped in and stopped her. A full alarm would mean shutting down the park, triggering investigations, and potentially closing permanently. He trusted the security team to deal with it quietly. That trust was catastrophically misplaced. A full-armed squad was dispatched to neutralize the Indominus. What they didn't know was that the hybrid had been engineered with chameleon DNA and could render itself nearly invisible. The squad leader didn't realize anything was wrong until drops of blood began falling onto his hand from above. He looked up, and the Indominus was crouched over them, perfectly camouflaged against the jungle canopy. It had even removed its own tracking chip to mislead them. In moments, it slaughtered nearly the entire squad. Owen, hearing the news, confronted Claire furiously. Indominus wasn't an attraction, it was a killing machine. It would not stop. If it reached the resort, it would kill everything in its path. Real weapons were the only option. Claire, who had poured years into building this park, struggled with the idea of turning it into a battlefield. But ultimately, she had no choice. She sounded the alarm. While this was unfolding, Claire's two nephews had driven themselves into serious danger. They had special access wristbands that allowed them to override the tour car's automatic recall. Ignoring the safety warnings, the older brother steered them deeper into the park. They wandered into a restricted area, marveling at the Triceratops, Stegosaurus, and Brachiosaurus roaming freely. For a moment it was magical, until the younger brother noticed something odd about the shadow on the car window. They counted the animals around them, one too many. The shadow wasn't another dinosaur. It was the Indominus Rex, standing directly behind them. The attack was instant and savage. Indominus kicked the car, sent it tumbling, and turned briefly to fight an ankylosaurus that had stumbled into its path. The armored dinosaur's hide resisted Indominus's bite, but the hybrid's claws tore through its back and flipped it, killing it in one brutal move. With Claire's phone ringing at exactly the wrong moment, Indominus's attention snapped back to the boys. It grabbed the car and smashed it against the ground repeatedly. The glass was seconds from shattering when both brothers unbuckled their seatbelts and leapt out. They ran with Indominus in close pursuit and launched themselves off a small waterfall just as its jaws snapped at them. They survived. Owen and Claire arrived to find the destroyed car. Fearing the worst, Claire nearly broke down, until Owen spotted footprints leading to the waterfall and confirmed the boys had escaped. But fresh news from the control room made everything worse. The park alarm had pushed all 20,000 visitors toward the resort, and Indominus was now heading directly for that same location. The park owner, accepting there was no other way, personally took to the air in an armed helicopter to hunt the dinosaur himself. The helicopter found Indominus and opened fire. The barrage drove the hybrid crashing directly into the habitat of the park's pterosaurs and dimorphodons, winged dinosaurs with enormous wingspans. Hundreds of them launched into the sky simultaneously, swarming the island in a panicked frenzy. The resulting chaos was catastrophic. A soldier was snatched mid-air. Another died in a collision. The helicopter was torn apart, and the park owner perished in the wreckage. Thousands of terrified tourists ran screaming through the resort as flying dinosaurs descended on them. Claire's assistant, trying to get the two brothers to safety, was grabbed and hurled into the Mosasaurus lagoon, where she was swallowed along with the pterosaur that had snatched her. The brothers, frozen in horror, barely found shelter before security teams arrived and drove the flying dinosaurs back with tranquilizer rounds. Then the military officer stepped forward and took command. He had been waiting for this moment. His real plan: use the trained velociraptors as weapons to hunt Indominus Rex, and in doing so, demonstrate that dinosaurs could be weaponized for military use. Owen was furious. Those raptors were animals he had raised and trained with his own hands. He didn't want them sent to their deaths. But with 20,000 lives at risk and no better option on the table, he reluctantly agreed. The strategy was straightforward. Let the raptors track Indominus by scent, with heavily armed soldiers moving closely behind, ready to strike at the right moment. Claire locked her nephews in a secure control vehicle and monitored the operation remotely. Owen gave the raptors a piece of Indominus flesh to lock in the scent, opened their cages, and led the combined force deep into the jungle. They pushed further into the trees until the raptors stopped cold. Every soldier raised their weapon. Then, slowly, the Indominus Rex stepped out of the forest and stood before them. Owen expected the raptors to attack. Instead, both sides went still, as if communicating. The raptors didn't charge. They turned toward the humans instead. The horrible realization hit Owen in an instant. Indominus had raptor DNA in its genome. It wasn't just a hybrid, it was their alpha. The raptors had switched sides. The panicked officer screamed the order to open fire. The soldiers unleashed everything they had, and in doing so, turned both Indominus and the raptors against themselves. The squad was decimated within minutes. Claire sped away with the boys as raptors gave chase. One nearly breached the car door before she slammed the wheel and crushed it against a wall. Another forced its head through the window and was beaten back with electric sticks. Owen arrived and guided the group safely to the lab. Inside, they found it abandoned. The scientists had fled by helicopter. But in Dr. Wu's private office, they discovered the full truth. Indominus had been built from the DNA of dozens of species, not just T-Rex and raptor, but chameleon, cuttlefish, tree frog, and more. Every terrifying ability it possessed had been deliberately engineered. The military officer emerged and confirmed it coldly. Indominus was the prototype of what he intended to sell as a living weapon. Before he could say another word, a raptor came for him. He tried Owen's command technique. The raptor ignored it and killed him. Owen, Claire, and the boys ran outside, where 3 raptors immediately surrounded them. But among them was Blue, the pack's alpha, marked by the distinctive stripe along her side. Owen met her eyes. Something in her hesitated. He reached forward and removed the control device from her head. At that exact moment, Indominus came crashing through the tree line, bellowing a command for the raptors to attack the humans. Blue turned and faced the hybrid instead, snarling in open defiance. Indominus swung its tail and sent Blue flying. Her 2 sisters, enraged, launched at the hybrid together, but their attacks barely registered against its armored hide. One by one, they were beaten down and killed. Things looked hopeless. Then Claire made a desperate decision. She called the control room and gave one order: open enclosure 9. Moments later, the ground shook. The original T-Rex, the park's first dinosaur, now decades old but still fearsome, came charging out. Claire led it directly into the path of the Indominus Rex. The 2 titans collided with earth-shaking force. They tore into each other in a brutal, relentless battle. For a while, the Indominus had the edge. Its razor claws were devastating, and the aging T-Rex began to stagger. It seemed like it was over. But then Blue came back. Battered and bloodied, she threw herself back into the fight. Her speed and precision distracted the Indominus just long enough for T-Rex to find its footing. Together they coordinated, Blue darting and slashing while T-Rex drove forward with raw power. Finally, T-Rex found its moment and slammed the Indominus with everything it had, hurling it toward the lagoon's edge. The crash resounded across the island. In the lagoon, something large stirred beneath the surface. The Mosasaurus surged upward in an explosion of water, clamped its enormous jaws around the Indominus Rex's neck, and dragged it below. The hybrid thrashed once, then disappeared into the dark water forever. Indominus Rex was gone. The park fell silent. Blue lingered for a moment, meeting Owen's eyes one last time, then turned and vanished into the jungle. The T-Rex stood at the edge of the lagoon and let out one final triumphant roar.